and welcome to the AssemblyTV studio. I'm your host Teppo Isperia Suominen and this is the Real Wild Compo demo studio. That's a mouthful. And with me here in the studio are Markus, Jaakko, Tervis and Pete. Hello guys. So, what's your thing about Real Wild? Let's go in order. Markus.
I usually do all kinds of programming. I like to do some hardware jobs myself. For example, these last 1.5 years I've been doing this massive electric skateboard. And for that I actually had to encode the entire Bluetooth, the throttle mechanism, so that it's actually foolproof and not jamming in the throttle section.
So hardware parts.
Hardware parts. Okay. That's my stick.
What about you, Jaakko?
I've mainly been working with like microcontrollers and really low-end hardware and trying to find the limits.
Okay, so whatever you can get your hands on that just runs on electricity.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, great. Tervis, what about you?
Well, I have been working with microcontrollers for like 20 years or so.
Okay.
And also with Amiga and C64, so I know something about limited hardware. Okay. But I have also been working with ARM controllers lately, so...
Oh.
So, that's about it.
Okay. And Pete, what about you?
Yeah, well, I don't know not anything about programming or hardware, but I just enjoy the demos, and the metro station sign was pretty fascinating years back.
Okay, perfect. So, this time around, Real Wild, only 3 entries, kind of a sad moment. Unfortunately, this has been a thing last year also. So, not that many entries, but what do you guys think about the compo overall?
Should I start?
I
think the first of the demos was something that I actually can't say so much about because I haven't used Blender basically at all. Okay. So I don't understand the Blender scripting languages or the scripting mechanisms that much. The second, doing 3D animations with Blender is not exactly Real Wild unless you do it with limited hardware, as this seems to be.
Yeah.
And that is the stick of that compo. And of course the last compo is a Real Wild demo
we'll
with
get to that
teletext and shit.
We'll get to that a bit more later here. But overall feel maybe not as really wild as we would have hoped, I think.
Yeah, I've had like expectation of like something with the more hardware level, though the both of the 2 of the second ones were done with the ARM controllers, so something, but still limited, but I don't know.
Okay. Let's jump into the individual entries. Let's go them in numeric order as they were seen on screen. So first one was Snake, the one with Blender.
Yeah, well, I have been using Blender for designing 3D designs, but I haven't actually used the scripting language there. But I thought it was a nice experiment, and definitely it's good to have those in the compos. And if you have 3 entries, we should have more of these.
Definitely.
I think.
Yes. Because, I have the same issue as Markus, so to speak. I have not used Blender ever. So how hard is it to make something like this?
I can't say, because I have used it only for 3D design, and this was kind of abusing the Blender for something else.
It was a combination of Python script and Blender software there.
I would expect it was quite simple in the end. Probably finding out what to do have been the biggest part.
That's usually a part of the Real Wild scene, to find out what you need to do to make your stuff work.
Yeah, I would probably say that was more like a proof of concept that you can do that. Yeah. And I would have maybe expected the demo to be more like, to be a bit more in it.
Okay.
At least. I'm not sure, hard to say how hard it actually was.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I think it seems that this is done doing graphics not in the way that Blender is supposed to do graphics, but graphics inside the Blender in the like the editing scheme in itself.
Yeah.
So you are animating with the representative squares of the like basically
Or
doing
text
art
boxes.
inside Photoshop with the Photoshop frames.
More or less, yes.
Yeah, like using the text boxes or something like
Yeah.
that. So that are actually meant to be used for the information to user and not actually in the scene.
I started wondering when I saw this if you could do it with the Windows 95, that you got into a freeze mode because it would copy all those Windows frames if you move the windows by dragging it with a mouse. Like, could you force that status on a Windows 95 computer and create something similar? If I have time, I'll try to find out for next year.
I think something like that could be possible. That
Yeah.
like every time the window is moved,
Yeah, it
You
creates
change
a
the state.
Yeah, it creates
and
shadow image.
yeah, and then you keep the shadow image there.
Yeah. We'll see if we can make something happen for next year. Okay. Anything else on your mind about the first entry that we had? Okay. Let's move on to entry number 2. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was done with Offroid C1, I believe. So what we have here is a very classical style of a demo, but with very limited hardware. So for Jaakko and Tervis, a bit more familiar ground.
Well, then again, it's how do you define limited hardware? Of course, it's limited compared to modern PCs, but then again, you have. I think this one had 3 ARM cores and it has a 3D accelerator. But of course, it's not the same thing as on modern PC.
So that is
But I think the design was good anyway. So.
Yeah, but that is actually a very good question of what defines limited hardware, because of course Offroid is considered to be of the same scheme as Raspberry Pi, but it's got, like you said, 3 cores, some sort of a graphic accelerator, and 1 gigabyte of memory. So it's not that limited. It's not actually that far from computers that we used to make demos 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's not like, for example, LFT is doing stuff on microcontrollers where you don't have memory for a full frame buffer. You have to generate all the stuff that is seen on the screen. You have to generate it all the time, all the frames, all the pixels, all the time.
Okay.
You cannot have a frame buffer per se.
Okay, so that changes things a lot, of course.
So that's a very limited hardware. But anyway,
does it write only from top to down, or can you write anywhere on the screen?
I mean, of course, you can just wait for the right moment and put the stuff on the screen.
But theoretically, it comes like on the buffer line.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, considering this entry, I think the music was nice, and it was the most demo-ish entry here. So I really liked it.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it broke boundaries.
It didn't really
Like
feel like an envelope pusher, a real wild that makes you go, oh, you can do that. It was a nice demo, but nothing that we have never seen before. But for that, we have our number 3 entry, a teletext combo entry.
So who shall start?
This is done with, I suppose the Raspberry Pi is attached to a real television that is put on the teletext channel 100, and it's video then.
I think so.
Suspect.
Yeah, actually it only uses 1 page.
Yeah, it only uses the 100 pages.
Yeah,
No changes.
I didn't know that that's when we were watching it before, so that changes a bit what we expected it to work.
Yeah, because it can't change the page, it just needs to refresh the page that it's using.
Yeah, but it's like they said, FPS, maybe.
Definitely.
So I really like this one because this is really something new. Even though it's teletext has been around for 40 years, as they said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very interesting. I
Yeah.
liked it very much.
Yeah, first entry on assembly, at least for teletext, I'm pretty sure around the world even could be the first entry ever. I have not myself encountered one
There
before.
has been some teletext graphics compos,
Okay,
at
yeah.
least.
Yeah, but
I don't know about demos for teletext. So
yeah, I have never encountered one. We'll need to find out later, but that's something exceptional at least.
I think it was really innovative to use something like this and actually find out how to actually to do it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have come up like that you can actually do, like find a way to connect Raspberry Pi to TV and do this like today.
Could you explain the method how teletext actually finds the pages? So it so was it that the television all the time sends some small packages of the teletext data with every frame? So in the side buffer.
There's a part of the every page. The teletext one page is split into parts. I'm not sure how much, but every frame of the video, like TV, every frame contains a part of that data.
Okay.
So it might take like, let's say, 10 frames of video to get one full page of the teletext.
And then if you have like 800 pages on that channel, then it takes 800 times the amount of frames to actually loop through the whole sequence of pages.
Yeah.
But in this you would have only one
Yeah,
page.
so basically I think they were limited by this updating of one teletext page.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure if you would push boundaries and with selected TV, you might kind of use the TV as a buffer and put, let's say, 100 pages of teletext on the TV and then have a like faster animation with 100 pages.
Yes.
And like get of like buffered faster animation with higher FPS for a moment.
Actually, the biggest limiter is single bandwidth that we can get into the television. So if we can get it inside, we can use the television as a buffer zone.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
yeah, you would have to have some way to control also the page the TV is showing at the time.
Yeah.
Even if it's buffering. So you would have to have a little bit more electronics also. But that would be a real wild definitely then also.
So what would be really interesting would be to find out how this was physically done, what they did and what they went through. So we've been guessing here in the studio, of course.
You had some ideas?
Well, I was just curious about the sound. Was the sound also fed through teletext or?
Yeah. Do you guys know?
I mean, it's a video signal, and the teletext is on the sideband of the video signal, which has also audio included. So I don't think that's the difficult part.
So audio can be sent through teletext.
Well, kind of. I
Not
think
really.
I think they were like showing like let's say TV channel, and they didn't need to put any video on it, but they would put audio on it, and then open the like text page, and the text page would be kind of.
So
the
basically,
video.
they have behind that they could have a video and just that sound on it and widescreen.
Yeah.
Basically, if you let's say you turn on television and there comes 1995 Yle News, then if you put on teletext, you can still hear the news anchor.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, one entry that we were really intrigued by, we actually spent time between the compo and the studio finding out what might have been done, because teletext was a bit of a mind boggler for all of us. Not something we would have thought of. So a very good real wild entry, something that we would have never thought of beforehand. Other than that, a bit of a short compo, unfortunately, but well, I don't know. I like hardware stuff for real wild, so it's always nice to see something that's actually somebody's taken the time to make something new, some sort of new hardware that they drive something with, even if it is just a new like LED output or something. even with those you can do really cool stuff like we've seen here some years.
Exactly. I actually looked at the rules of the real-world demo compo, and it seems like if it has to be some kind of graphics. It doesn't have to be executable graphics, but some kind of graphical output of your programming. So if you would have, let's say, a quadcopter that you mod somehow to do some impossible flight maneuver, for example, flying sideways. Maybe you could do that with some hack. Break the physics. But that would not maybe fit into the description of real-world demo.
Yeah.
But anyone would like to see that, and we would maybe need some other kind of demo combo category for that.
I suppose you could always at least try to put it in the real world and see if it passes. But it's true that maybe the category boundaries are a bit strict with the graphical output there. Maybe that dims down a bit what we can get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or then people just interpret it too strictly. That could also be it.
Maybe.
So I think, like with the second demo, that it might be a good entry. Like you get a limited set of what you need to do. Like if you go for 4K demos, you have a lot of problems, like how you make it small, and you have like a huge number of problems, even though the actual coding might be pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like for the demo. But here you kind of can take a kind of older hardware, new one, but like limited to the 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like make in that context a demo, and then you can like use your full potential in that context, and that might be really much easier barrier to enter to making demos.
That's a very good point, definitely. Okay, any closing comments on the real world this year? Or any hopes for next year?
Well, I hope I have an entry next year, but I won't tell you anything about it at this point.
Let's keep it a secret until next year.
I hope more people would try to do something. People are too afraid to try out and show something.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually would have the same comment. Many people should try to do this, and I think at the Hack Lab table there are very many people who actually could just take something off their table and bring it here, and it
Bring
would
it here.
Straight be a real-world demo.
Yeah, maybe it's an unfortunate side effect of the category. Not a lot of people think about, real world's the thing that I'll enter. It's a thing that, well, there's the few dedicated people that go for real world, but maybe it's just the category that entries gravitate into more than that you start to make a real world entry.
Yes.
I don't know if there has been like two good real world demos that people think that this isn't good enough.
Yeah, but that shouldn't, well, hopefully that wouldn't be an issue in the demo scene, because it's about what you do, not about what someone else has done.
And I would like to remind people that they just should use this time and show what they have done.
Definitely.
Yeah, and nobody remembers if you have done some crappy product at some time. Everybody remembers if you have done something great.
Definitely true.
And that's all. And one thing about this compose is that I think there is a tendency that if there is a long-going demo party like Assembly, there is last year not many entries in this compo, next year very many entries, because everybody is looking at the last year's how many entries are there. So this might be the compo we should participate so that we can at least get shown.
Yeah, it's true. But, well, if that's the style that people are choosing now, let's hope that we get a bigger real-world category next year.
Definitely. Yes.
What about you, Peter?
Well, I also agree that we need more entries, and the Hack Lab is hopefully the growing ground for some more different kind of products.
Definitely. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the studio and on our rather fervent study into how teletext works. I've learned a lot in this 30 minutes that we've had. So thank you so much for coming to the studio. It was a good discussion, very good points. Let's hope we find out the person who made that teletext demo and can find out what he actually did.
It's actually she.
She?
Yeah.
Okay, find out what she did. Okay. Yeah, they do have maker names. I just didn't check it. Good point. And until then, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching Assembly TV out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.